for Denisha to come in. Today, hello. We're going to be talking about parenthood. So, hey. We're going to wait for Denisha, but as Denisha is getting ready to come in, let me just brief you guys on what we're going to be talking about today. So, a lot of times when a couple has children for the first time, we notice that they break up. They have children and things just don't go, they're not on the same page, and they end up actually breaking up after they have children. This happens very, very often. Not only that, we have also situations in which you are co-parenting with somebody. So you guys are not together and you're just co-parenting. You have also situations where parents are a single parent. It could be a single mother or a single father. It doesn't always have to be a single mother. Let's make that clear. Because I had a single father parenting, so I can say that. And then, what we want to get down to is that every child needs their mother and their father, okay? The mother provides a certain type of... I don't know what to call it, but let's just go like this. The mother provides a certain type of frequency to that daughter daughter needs. And the mother also provides a certain type of frequency to that son needs. And vice versa. The father provides something to that son needs. And the father provides something to the daughter that the daughter needs. I can't teach my son how to be a man. I can't. I'm not a man. I don't have that experience. I don't have that reference. I can't do that. When it comes down to the nitty gritty of my son being a man, my husband is gonna take on that responsibility a little bit more than I would. Now, I'm here obviously to teach my son the other aspects of the nurturing part and the motherhood that I provide. But again, to be a man, my husband is going to take on that responsibility. Now, whether whether you're with your partner or not, they still have a responsibility for that child. Now, the same way that my husband cannot teach my daughter how to be a woman, that's something that I have to step in and take on that responsibility. However, he's going to show her the other side, as far as in the other side of the spectrum of how a man treats a woman, how she's supposed to be treated, like all those things like that. Each have a role to play. What happens way too often is that parents have their own personal issues within each other, that then they stop parenting to their child. So they kind of take whatever they're going through as a couple, they take it out on their children. I am not a fan of anybody staying together for the children. That is horrible. And I say that from experience because I feel like my parents tried to stay together for us. And I really was like, can y'all not be together? Because I don't like y'all together. They are not compatible at all. They were here just to have me and my brother, like literally. And they fought so much that's all I witnessed as a child, which it would have been better had they just not been together. And then she does her job as a mother and he does his job as a father. That's all that needed to happen. But often, two times, we get too caught up in our personal issues with that partner that we forget that the children are still depending on you to provide that care that you need to provide to them. So, one thing is for sure is that most parents, both male and female, are dealing with trauma. So most parents are parenting in a traumatic level, with traumatic eyes, with an emotional standpoint, traumatic. You know what I'm saying? Unless the other parent, male or female, whichever, the mother or the father, is a danger to your child, I do not think anybody should deny the other parent of being a parent. There are obviously circumstances where you can't allow your child with the other parent because, like I said, it's a danger to them. That's fine. We get that. But for the most part, most people are just dealing with their beef that they have within themselves, and then they're not doing what they're supposed to do. The first thing that we have to focus on as parents, individually, whether you're together as a couple or you're not, is finding your own healing within yourself. Children are going to resurface whatever childhood trauma that you had, and what's going to happen is you're going to start moving in that way based on your trauma. So if you came from a household that always yelled and things of that nature, you're more than likely going to do that. Like I came from that. Always yelling, always screaming, always fighting. That's what I grew up. So in one of our other episodes, we talked about how you're molded up to the age of 7 years old. Hold on. You're molded up to the age of 7 years old. So if you look back at your life as a parent right now, I want you to dissect, what did you go through from birth to 7 years old? What did you witness, whether it be traumatic, whether it be, maybe it's not traumatic. Were both your parents together? How were they in the household? How did they treat each other? How did your family treat each other? You have to break down all these different things, because all these things make us who we are. And they also mold us into the parents that we become. If you find yourself doing things like your parents, but you didn't like it done to you, that is a red flag for you to now say, where did I get this from? Like when was this paradigm added to my life? Okay? Because that's the key to everything. We have to change our paradigms. I talk about this in my book a lot, about we're programmed by everything, by society, by our parents, by our schools, by what we watch on TV. All these things up to your age of 7 is molding you. It's molding you on how you're going to react to things, how you're going to treat people, all of that. So the first thing, like I said, we have to do is we have to take a step back and look at ourselves. When you are in a relationship also with somebody, it's not about you two together. It's about you two individually finding your own healing. So when you do come together, you are coming from a healed place together. So therefore, you're more aware, you're more conscious of your actions, and you can also keep each other accountable in that sense. But if you're not doing that, then that's how all this chaos builds and all this aggression builds and all these things, because you're trying to do things together when at the end of the day, everybody's an individual. Everybody is an individual. Just the same way all your children are different, and you know that from the jump. Anybody who has more than one child can tell you that none of their children are the same. They have similar, personalities here and there, but for the most part, as individuals, they are different. Everybody's different. That's all the same thing as you're an adult and you're in a relationship with somebody, or if you're not in a relationship with somebody, but you chose to procreate with this person. You guys are both still individual people. You didn't meet since you were born. You probably met in your 20s and your 30s, whenever you met. That means there's a whole 20 years, 30 years prior to that of things that you built, that you went through, and experiences that molded you into who you became. So different things that for me has worked as far as in me finding my healing so that I can be the mother that I'm supposed to be and provide what I'm supposed to provide to my daughter as a mother, and provide what I'm supposed to provide to my son as his mother, and then also allow my husband to do what he's supposed to do to both of them, to the male and the female. Meditation. I think meditation is one of the most important things, because I don't know about y'all, but I'm the type of person where I have like 20 million tabs open in my brain. And the one thing that we don't know how to do, and that's a lot of us are moving in our program state, so we're not even present most of the time. We're either thinking of you have like the hope for the future, so you're thinking about that and everything you need to do, or you're stuck on what went wrong in your life, what went bad in your life, and things of that nature. So you're stuck in the past. That means you're not present. Being present is like, right now, I'm present. I'm what is going through my head, I'm on the live. That's what's going on right now. That's my present. Nothing else. Nothing else. The future and the past are both illusions. I talk about this all the time. They're both illusions. But if we're so caught up in them, then we're missing the present moment. If we're missing the present moment, that means that we're not aware, we're not consciously aware of our actions, of what we're doing, of our triggers. There's a process in the brain where you can have that point of asking yourself, how do I handle this situation? What is the best, Denisha said she's almost home. What is the best way to resolve this situation? How can I compromise with this person? How can I coexist with this person? Meditation is going to allow you to silence your mind. If you want to start off with guided meditations, that's fine, because what you want to do is you want to focus on one thing and stay on that. So if you get off track, you can have like an affirmation that you say, whatever it is. The whole point is to have the discipline of controlling your mind for that moment and not allowing all these extra thoughts. And they're going to come in, and that's on you to then sit there and literally be like, no, I'm not going to think about that, and go back to either your affirmation or whatever it is that whatever you're being guided on in the meditation. You have that as your focal point and you stick to that. Another thing that is really good, I've always loved to write and journal. Not everybody is like that, but you know, obviously with technology, you can type now on your computer, you can put it on your phone and all these things like that. Let me get to these up in here. Hold on. Right here. So what we got? Meditation. So journaling. That's where I was at. Journaling is super important. Why is journaling important? Hey, girl.
Hey, not yet, but almost. I'm gonna mute it though. But I wanted to tune in so I could hear, so I can know.
Okay. Okay. So journaling is super important. I know when I look back at my journals that I had like from years ago, even when I was younger, I actually journaled since I was in 4th grade all the way till I graduated high school. And when I look back, I cringe at times at the things that the way my mental process was. And it also showed me too how I was processing all the trauma that I was going through as a child. So anyways, journaling is super important because it helps you be more aware. So if there's a certain place that you want to get to mentally, spiritually, or with your other companion, your partner, whether you're together or not, journal that person that you want to become, because you want to make it a reality. And the more you journal basically where you want to get to, then you're going to dissect now what are the things that you need to do to heal from, so that you can be that parent that you want to be. You can be that man that you want to be. You can be that woman that you want to be. This is so important because this is how we break cycles. This is how we break generational curses and things like that. It's by being, hold on. But see what you mean? Oh, come on then. By being present all the time. Okay? Breathwork detox is something that I had heard about for some time. I was in the process of looking for a different healing modality outside of therapy. Nothing wrong with therapy, to each his own. But I wanted to do more than just talking to someone. I wanted to tap into like the deep layers spiritually of any, because a lot of times we don't know what lies all the way in our subconscious of the traumatic things that have made us who we are. We think we know, but we don't really know, because your subconscious is controlling your body the whole entire time. So there's things that you're doing just automatically that you think are you, but they're coming from a subconscious programming that you already have like embedded in there from years and years and years and years and years. So with breathwork releases the natural DMT in your, what I say, brain? I don't know if I'm calling that right. But let me break down to you what DMT is. Hold on. You get the highest level of DMT release when you're born and when you die. Crazy, right? So hold on. DMT, I just want to give you guys the correct. It's also called dimethyltryptamine. Okay. So a lot of times what happens with this DMT, a lot of times people may regard that high as a spiritual experience. There's different types of like psychedelics and stuff that tap into the your DMT. But with breath work, for those who don't want to tap into psychedelics, breathwork detox actually is something great to look into, because that allows you to release a lot of this trauma that's inside of you. People don't know that we hold on to our trauma in our chest walls and in our gut. Like, this is like inside your body, okay? These are layers, just like, it's kind of like a heavy dark cloud just sitting in your body, okay? Now, a lot of us are not even consciously breathing, and we don't even know that we're consciously breathing. I think I spoke this briefly before, but if you take a deep breath, a lot of people, their stomach is contracting in as opposed to expanding out. When we take a deep breath, our stomach is supposed to expand. If you ever see a baby sleeping, their stomach is opening, closing, right? Like if I take a deep breath right now and I go, my stomach is supposed to contract out, not in. When it's contracting in, that's trauma that's inside of you. So there's different breath work exercises that is, oh, you lost me. Hold on, let's get her back in here. So there's different types of breath work. You can look into different ones. I've done a breathwork detox. And what you do the whole time, your job is simply just to breathe, which may sound like an easy thing, but you don't realize how much you don't breathe until you start breathing. Because we're shallow breathers is what we are. And you may think, oh, just breathing is going to heal me. You have no idea. On my first breathwork detox that I did, I felt electricity, literally electricity, running from my toes, and it crawled all the way up. It was in my arms. It crawled all the way up to my head right here. Okay. I felt an entire electricity. Okay. My hands felt like I had powers, like literally, like I felt like I could lift anything, break anything. I literally felt like a superhuman at that time. And all I was doing was breathing. I was doing a specific type of breath. There was one breath work that I did that it was just I kept doing that. There was another one that it was like a 3-part breath, and it was like, and it was that, and you just continue breathing. So the one that I did the 3-part breath, that one was one of my most powerful experiences. And what was happening was my hands, I couldn't stop moving my hands. At one point I started crying, breaking down crying. It was uncontrollable. These things were just happening as I was doing the breath work, okay? I was feeling the electricity all through my body. And then at one point, I felt like I tried to get up. And when I tried to get up, I saw my body laying on the floor. I know there's certain people that can be like, she bugging out. I know what I experienced, okay? I tried to get up. I saw my body laying on the floor, which kind of freaked me out. So I laid back down. And when I laid back down, I had no control of my hands at this point. I kept taking them from my feet and like running through my whole body all the way up like this. And as I kept doing that, the electricity more powerful. Then at one point, my hands just started doing this really, really fast, and I was in a not a big room, but an average size bedroom, and it was hot. I was hot in there. However, my hands started moving so fast to the point where I felt like there was like a fan in that room. That's how fast my hands were going, like this. And as I was going faster, I started to hear like a buzzing sound of electricity running through my whole body. And it was like, zzz. That's exactly what I felt. It was all like traveling up, and then it was all right here. I felt it right here. And I kept going. Also, my hands were going fast through here, which then afterwards, my husband ended up telling me that was my solar plexus over here. These were things that were going uncontrollably. Breath work. This was what happened. So afterwards, as the buzzing is getting louder and louder and louder and louder and louder, it feels as if somebody, like, I was like lifted somewhere and somebody just threw me and my whole body flew back down. At that point, I'm still shaking. I can't even get up like that. But after that experience and the other 2 breathwork sessions that I did prior to that, I started feeling different. I started thinking different. I felt lighter. I was somebody who suffered with anxiety and Ptsd for a very long time. And I started to now, all of those heavy, you know, emotions and things like that started just like, you know, like going away. I wasn't feeling that no more. I got into more stuff after that I won't discuss right now here. But I found my way through it. And all of this came with just me tapping into my inner healing. And I think that if all of us parents did that, we wouldn't have so much of this like hostile environment with these parents. Because all it is that everybody needs to find their healing. As well as we need to also understand, like, men. We think that men don't feel because they don't wear their heart on their sleeves the way we do. But they probably feel more because they don't talk about things as much. So I feel like there's this society where we kind of throw men to like the side. We always push them away when it comes to birth. It's like, oh, my body, my choice. Like, he didn't stick the sperm inside of you and you created the baby by yourself. You know, you see that. You see, you know, like, oh, well, I go through all the pain. I go through this. But you wouldn't even have that baby if it wasn't for him. You know, like, there's the male and the female energy, and they both do something together, and they're very powerful together. But if they're also traumatized in their own sense, then this is going to explode right here. It's going to explode. And then what are we really showing to our children?
Yeah. There is like a process that I go through when I feel stuck. And my process, I'm going to give you the most perfect example. COVID was happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, nobody knew what was going on in the beginning. We see mask wearing, we're getting confused, we're like, what's going on? They're threatening to close places, and we're like, oh snap, this is getting real. My thought process was, let me get information and let me prepare. I was like, how do we actually get sick? That was my first question. How do we actually get sick? Right? I did my, you know, rabbit hole research on that. Then the next thing was about, like, what is the number 1 cause of illness ever? And it's oxygen. Lack of oxygen it's literally the highest cause of, like, yeah, you can say, oh, it's this illness or what, but what is it truly? It's a lack of oxygen that initiates that whole manifestation of any type of disease in the body. So when I find that out, that's when mask wearing didn't make sense, because you're depriving your body of oxygen, you know? So when I do these types of like research, to not be scared and to kind of be able to think more than think with my emotions, because that's what they're going to try to do, is play us in the emotions, you know? I start going into like this rabbit hole of what can I do to improve my health, you know? And breathing is essentially the main thing. It's the number 1 thing that we have to focus on. So once you can change your breathing and like your breathing patterns, everything changes. Because let's be honest, women that give birth without pain medication, without fear, I mean, there's always that little bit of fear, but you know, without like actual fear of giving birth, what do they have under control? Their breathing, their breath. Yep. Perfect. It's exactly what they need. And it's not a consistent breath. It's different ones. It's and it's
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's all these patterns that we
Open
never
up different
learn.
portals in your brain. That's what
Exactly.
happens.
And they cause different patterns. So at the end of the day, they're gonna do different parts of healing, right?
Yeah.
So another thing that I learned in that little exploration was that we function like batteries. We're electric beings. That's why they have to charge you when you're dead to make you alive again. They need to spark you. The same way that your heart beat. That's how you live, is by a spark. When conception happens, it's a spark. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why hasn't anyone ever explained that part, like that we are electrical beings? And then now when we think about ourselves like as batteries, now we understand where all these things come into play, like breathing, grounding, also massaging your body to get energies out that are stuck. That's another thing, you know. And so one thing that I did that really changed a lot was dry brushing. I don't know if you have you heard of dry brushing?
I've heard of it. I've never done it though.
You've never done it? So my best friend mentioned it, Letty, like a long time ago. She was like, "Oh, dry brushing for the skin," and I kind of looked in a little bit, didn't pay too much attention, and then I saw some girl on a doctor actually post about it. So I was like, okay, I was like, that's weird because this girl just mentioned it to me. So let me look into it. You are recharging your body, like the same way that if you rub a balloon and you press it against water, it'll literally push the flow of the water with the balloon by you rubbing it, right?
Yeah.
So if our skin is the greatest organ, is the biggest one,
the biggest organ, yeah,
and we like cause this like static in our body, we're recharging ourselves. And that's something that I thought was incredible, that nobody had ever told me about, that nobody ever told me that it was going to make me feel better. Nobody told me that it was going to change my skin. My cellulite is less. My stomach is tightening. My boobs are tightening. They're not as soft.
So it's like a brush you buy and you just go through your body.
Yeah, I'm going to get in a little bit. I just don't want to mess up the flow when you're talking. I'm going to look at it. And I want to show it because you buy it specifically for your skin. It's a little bit like, it feels a little rough if you're not used to it. So
I've always heard about it, and I've always like, I gotta look more into that. I gotta look more into it. Now I'm gonna do it.
Well, this is your cue, right?
Yeah.
And so you start at the bottom and you just brush up your body and your arms all up to your heart. So it's all in this motion that you bring it and you charge. It's like you're bringing the static to your heart. And you know, I wanted to talk about that because the feeling you were talking about the tingling, comes into play when you do that as well. So I also do like a added on, and I add a couple of essential oils, clary sage to help balance my hormones, and then doTERRA has this other one called Zendocrine that is it's to help you detox. I add one drop of each, and I dry brush my whole body before I go into the shower, and that makes my body feel like I recharged it. It feels electrical. You feel the tingling sensation on your skin. And then added 20 plus is that your whole skin is now changing. You're shedding all the dead skin cells, and you're not shedding them around your house. So they're not in your air. You're not polluting your air. You do it on the tub. I do it in there before I take a shower, right? And all my dead skin falls right there, rinse myself off. And it's like I just gave myself a cleanse. So the power of learning how our body works so we can do what best works for it is incredible. So once we connect like that, we are literal batteries, then now we can understand what it looks like to recharge, what it looks like to take your breaths properly, what it looks like to also get sunlight to charge. That's another way of charging.
People understand, like, all these things are going to help you become a better partner and a better parent, because everybody has your own individual journey. We all have stuff we have been through. We all have stuff we have to unpack. We all have stuff we have to unlearn. There's nobody out here that can say that they don't have that process to do. We all have to do it. Because if that wasn't the case, then we wouldn't be in the situation we're in, where all these children are running crazy in these streets. There's the divorce rate is super high. There's so many single parents out there. They wouldn't be that. There's there because people literally have no knowledge of self. And that comes with everything as a whole. Like physically, what you feed into your body. If you're not eating right, number one, then you're using chemical filled things all over your body, your lotions, the soap that you use to wash your body. You're not eating right. You're eating processed food and all these things. What do you think is happening neurologically? You're blocking certain areas that are going to allow you to be consciously aware of what you are doing. Yes. You cannot change anything you don't know, you're not aware of. You can't change it, because what happens is it becomes part of your paradigm and you think that's who you are. We have the ability to change any paradigm that we subscribe to completely different. And that comes, though, with the mental discipline of doing the things that are going to get your mind and your body in line. Because a lot of times we can know so many things. Oh, I know how to do this. I know how to do this. But the act of actually doing it and staying disciplined and doing it is a whole nother story.
Applying it.
And that comes with not staying in full awareness. And this is where your breath comes into play. Okay, because that's going to help bring oxygen to your brain, so you can be able to have that process of saying, what should I do? How should I handle this? Or if you feel yourself going into maybe a way that you don't like about yourself and handling it the wrong way, you have the ability to stop yourself and say, wait a minute, I don't want to be that. I'm going to change this paradigm and I'm going to do something different. Okay. Also, anybody, let's say you're co-parenting and you guys are not together. I know there's a lot of single parents out there, you know, but let's say that your partner is not someone that's a risk for your child's safety. You guys just don't get along. That's it. But the other parent wants to still be a parent. Allow that person to be a parent. Also, allow yourselves to understand what the goal is at the end. The goal is to raise that child. This has nothing to do with you two no more. Nothing to do with you two. This has to do with, how are we going to raise this child? You have to provide something as a mother. Now, what do I need to do to help you mentally stay on track with that? You know what I mean? Because you should at least, I know in the beginning it can be hard, but at some point you got to get to a place where you can at least coexist and have a relationship where you guys can talk like friends and say, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going through this, but I'm trying with this. I may need your help with this. Can you take the kids for the weekend? I'm a little overwhelmed. I want some time to just decompress, meditate, and do some stuff by myself. You got to have that type of relationship with somebody. And I'm not saying all of this is a walk in the park, but we got to take accountability for who we've become. It may not have been our fault, but we still got to take accountability that it is on us to change ourselves. People go so hard. If they want to work out and be fit, they'll be at the gym every day, working out. If they want to hustle in the streets, they're going to be in the streets all day, hustling, right? If they have a business and they're going to be every day pushing their business and going hard, and all that is beautiful. But I need you to put that same energy into here, into how to reprogram your mind and your subconscious and your paradigm. And all these things we're talking about that you may think are not connected: the dry brushing, the breath work, the meditation, the journaling. What you are doing there is you're creating a new reality. There was a post that my husband had put, and I was like, certain people just really don't read. Because the point of the post was talking about somebody who basically was given something, but their programming of how, whatever their paradigm was, it shifted the reality. The point of the message was that we have the ability to shift our realities. It's whatever we literally subscribe to every single day. So if we're going to subscribe to, I'm going to be a single parent, F this bitch, F that dude, that's the reality we're going to have. That's what's going to happen. You have to realize that you cannot change anybody but yourself. Now, if you are constantly in a growing place, in a healing place, and your partner is not there yet, that's fine. You don't have to force them, because you know what's going to happen? You continue to heal yourself. Literally what happens is you become like this walking ball of light.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you start to radiate. When I go places, I don't need to be, I could probably be the most down-dressed person, but people are attracted to me because there is a light. I ain't lying. There's a light over me. Like, I know I'm one of the chosen ones. Call me cocky, call me what you want. I'm one of the chosen ones. I know that. Like, you know what I mean? I had a long time, for years as I was a kid, I always wondered why I was different, this and that. And then I realized, no, I'm one of the chosen ones. This is why people gravitate towards me, gravitate towards people like Denisha and things like that, because there's an aura that we have, okay? And it's a light aura. So when you have your mate, after time, they're gonna feel that, and they're gonna want to change, and they're gonna see how much you've grown and you've changed, and they're gonna be like, well, damn, because you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna expect you to react a certain way with certain situations with your child, and when you don't react that way, and every time you prove them wrong, they're gonna be like, dang, like, she's, you know what I mean? That right there takes anybody to a different place. It's like if somebody wants to fight you and you're just sitting there like, I'm not gonna fight you. Like, you can swing, you can do whatever. I'm not. After a while, they're gonna be like, you know what, forget it. Just forget it. Yeah. We have to make sure that we are on this level of healing, because what you don't want to do is make your children now have to unpack as much as you did, have to undo as much as you did. All this comes with being responsible for who you are as a parent. If I wasn't with my husband, he would still be a father to my children. I would be a mother to my children, because we created these children together, but like my dad always told me, like, we're just a port. They come to get their healing, to get their guidance, to get their direction. We don't own these children, though. They're not ours. Mm-hmm. You may want to feel that way, but they're not ours. And that's the reality of it. But we have a job to do as being their port, where they come to get everything they need to move on and live their lives and do what they do in their lives. But if this port is not healthy, and it's filled with just a bunch of garbage and just a bunch of trauma and a bunch of pain and a bunch of anger, then that's what they're going to take with them throughout life. I was a very angry person for a very long time, because I put myself as a victim on what I went through as a child. I was telling Denisha, when I had to really break down like I told you guys, break down what you were molded into from when you were birthed to 7. For me, it was all darkness. There was so much darkness, so many deaths in my family, drug stuff, fighting. So then what happens? I turn into a person who's aggressive, who's arguing, who's always fighting, that's what I molded into. And then I started realizing that I was losing people or taking for granted certain very important people in my life, because I was projecting that to them. And then you realize, as you get older and you go through your healing, that nothing is personal, because nothing nobody's doing is a personal attack on you. We choose to take it that way. But if we understand that everybody is an individual going through their own personal issues, personal programming, personal trauma, then we don't take anything personal. All we have to do is take accountability for ourselves and what we're going to do. There's even times where, the partner of the not the partner, but the other parent is just not being a parent. And I noticed that the one that is being a parent, they let that affect them so much that then that affects their parenting. Mm-hmm. And you can't do that.
Don't have no parent.
Like then they don't have no parent. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem. That's the problem that we have.
Another thing is that we have to remember that as human beings, we're copycats. and all we know is everything we grew up with.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, like, it takes a lot of us a lot longer than others to heal all that. I'm still healing trauma from things, because it's never ending, because
It's
even
never
though
ending.
I might be healing some childhood trauma, there's still something that might have happened yesterday that traumatized me in some way that I'm gonna have to
That
heal
trigger.
later on.
Yeah.
You know? So my thing is, like, there's a journey that connects you back into your alignment with nature and like the cycle of
Yes.
you know, and that's the cycle that gets repeated again. Everything else dies. Everything
Yeah.
else dies. So even though we die, there are certain essences of us that get repeated back into this like realm.
Yeah.
So if we understand that, no matter what you believe in, I'm pretty sure everybody understands that concept, like in that being in that alignment, and how we see nature and how it works, and it passed the test of time. So in reality, what do we have to do? It's let the world be, and our job is to put our seed, right, our sand, our grain of sand for our beach, like the analogy that I like to use. So we like to always just wait for the other people to do everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too much, that's too hard. But in reality, no, it's not. It starts with breathing. It starts with
Yeah.
drinking water. It starts with eating more fruits and vegetables because they're in nature. It starts with you being in nature. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like people don't understand, but there's a certain way that you need to be in this society. But when you go out in nature, you don't have to be anything
No, you
but
just be.
what you want to be and who you truly are in your essence. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, if we shed all of that and we just throw ourselves into that process, now the world is already changing for us. But if we're always hesitant to start the process, we're never going to be in progress.
In progress. Yeah.
You know, so another thing that I really, really like to put emphasis on is just changing your habits. I get stuck
Yes.
in habits. I get stuck in habits so hard that if I'm not doing what I'm used to doing, I can easily be in a bad mood. I can
Mm.
easily like start feeling that the day is bad or not good. And it's like, no, no, no. I have to always try to ground myself, because that's the thing. I know what I want. And so it's not like down here, it's up there. So I need a lot of grounding throughout my day to
Mm-hmm.
be able
Yep.
to process my day and be present, because if not, I'm not present. I'm one foot here and the other there, which
Yeah.
means I'm nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, so I do like to mention about like getting to know yourself. It's
Yes.
not that it's not that like, oh, drinking water and all these things are going to work for everybody. No,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to find your way to make it work. Like,
Yep.
I just discovered that your ascendant sign is actually what people know about you, what you come off as. Your
Mm.
sun is your character, your moon is your
Right.
emotions. So your ascendant is usually the memory that people stay with. So as
Mm.
I start reading about my ascendant sign, I'm like, wow, I understand myself even
Even
more
more.
than I did 2 days ago.
We're
And
all
that's
gonna
incredible.
have, yeah, sorry, we're all gonna have our strengths and our weaknesses of who we are. Now the key is that when you need to know your weaknesses, because those are the things that you're gonna have to nurture and reprogram that paradigm. The
Yes.
other stuff probably just comes naturally to you.
It falls into
It
place.
falls just like that, just like that. The same way you get up and brush your teeth and take a shower, like that's how natural certain
Yeah.
things that are your strengths come into play. um I know for me, my weaknesses was when I would get a certain trigger, something that would trigger like a traumatic situation, I check out. Like I check out completely. I'm gone. I can't process thought correctly. I can't handle the situation correctly. Like now I can, but that's because of an experience I did that helped me with that.
The
But
opposite of that. I'm
there
here
was
trying
a
to
point.
ram into the problem. Like, what the hell's the problem? Talk to me.
But there was a point where I would lose complete control and everything would go black. Literally black. And then afterwards I would come out of it like, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Oh my God, what is wrong with me? And then the guilt of, why can't I change this? You know what I mean? And that kind of stuff. And I know that that was my weakness for a very, very long time. Because I have went super, 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 super deep into my spiritual healing. I was able, thank God, recently in September, able to heal myself from my anxiety that I thought I was going to have to deal with it for the rest of my life. Many people don't know that that's the reason why I smoke so much weed. And I always have, is because of my anxiety that I used to suffer from. I no longer suffer from that. I also have PTSD and panic attacks. And these are things that affected me not only as a person, it affected me as a girlfriend, it affected me as a wife, and it trickled down into my parenting. And what happened was that when it trickled down into my parenting, it kind of was like the last straw where I was like, nah, this shit's gonna stop the fuck now. And I made that decision. So I started to get involved and do these different things that allowed me to find literally my healing place in that. And it wasn't easy, because when I tell you that you have to be willing to witness your darkest self before you can heal, and I mean that. And it got to the point where it took over. It felt like it was taking over my life. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I felt like I was going to die. Like there was a point, this is recently, I felt like I was going to die. I didn't think I was going to make it through it. I had no control. But what I did know, again, we may know things, but to act on them is completely different. I knew that I had the power to change my paradigm, to change my mental state, and to do all this. I just didn't know how to do it and do it where it wasn't just like a cheap fix and then I would have to try to do it again. I didn't want that. I wanted full, complete healing. I chose to go a certain route that many people are not willing to go to, but that's me. I may make a video on it more in depth. But my point in saying all this is that in that process, what ended up happening to me in that spiritual process was I opened up a portal that I feel like was closed for a very long time. And in this portal, it allowed me to remove literally traumatic situations and events that I held on to since I was a child that were triggers for me. So when I was able to remove these things completely, I was able now to have the process of being aware of my decisions, being aware of when my mental state is starting to kind of drift off and what to do to get it back in line. You know, like, no, I have to do this now. I have to do that now, whether it be meditation, journaling, listening to this video. It's like I have the ability now to stop it. Remember before I said it would just go blank and I would check out, done, bye, I'm out. Now there's a filter there and I'm able to go through the steps to say, okay, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to handle this differently. We're going to do it this way now. We're going to take a moment for ourselves. We're going to breathe. Oh my God. Breathing is life-changing. Like, people take their breaths for granted. And I really mean that.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much it can shift. As you move through your day, be consciously aware of your breathing. And start to really ask yourself, am I breathing? And most of the time, you're not. I want to share something real quick. So,
I'm going to get the dry brush.
Yes, get the dry brush. So this here, let's see if you can see it there. This has a few different, I know there's so many people that always hit me that they suffer from anxiety and panic attacks and things like that. It's like so many people. Now this here, my mom is somebody who suffers from that stuff too, and my brother actually started giving her. There's a few other ones of this. I'll give you this. The alchemy. It's called alchemy mushrooms. No, these are not psychoactive mushrooms, so don't worry. You're not gonna go on a trip or nothing. If you look up lion's mane, ginkgo, here I'm gonna just give you an example. Lion's mane mushrooms. Here we go. I'm gonna break down to you what they do for you. Okay, so the lion's mane, it improves brain health, fights anxiety and depression, supports the immune response. It's an anti-inflammatory, supports heart health and good circulation, supports fat burning and healthy metabolism, stabilizes your blood sugar levels, improves digestive health, and it's an anti-cancer properties and improves energy levels. But the key here, what did I say? Improves brain health. Anxiety and depression it helps with. So this has that. Let's go to ginkgo, which is another one that it has in it. My brother said that this has been great for my mom so far. She hasn't taken any of her medications since she's been taking this. So that's a great sign.
I make chocolate with mushrooms. Like I buy the powder. I buy the powder for like, it has cacao powder, but it also has like a combination of different types of mushrooms. And that's how I make chocolate, like chocolate milk or hot cocoa for the kids. So with the mushroom.
Here goes the other one, the ginkgo, Ginko, ginkgo biloba. Here's right here. Beneficial in maintaining healthy heart, prevents cancer, and reduces risk of nervous disorders. Nervous disorders. These are key words here you got to pay attention to. Helps to improve focus, memory, and stimulate creative thinking. Okay. Beneficial in treating cognitive disorders such as Alzheimer's and dementia. Okay. The other one, rhodiola. Rhodiola, I think.
A good mushroom.
Yeah. So this is what's in this, and these are the benefits that it has to. Hold on. Okay. Regulates hormones. Do you know how important it is to have your hormones regular? Like
nobody out there has their hormones regulated in this society because they're being bombarded through like everywhere. No, seriously, guys. Seriously. Like for real.
That's another thing like people should look into. Get blood work done. Get a whole panel done so you can see where your levels are at, because a lot of times depression and all these things can come from literally a deficiency in a vitamin.
A mineral,
something like that.
Yes. Hair loss is a mineral deficiency. Yes. A whole bunch of different things, but it's literally, we were always taught to look at like vitamins, and all our foods have synthetic vitamins anyways that our body doesn't accept them anyways. But on top of that, they don't teach us about nutrients and minerals. Minerals are more important.
There was something people like, oh, you don't get no protein when you're plant-based, whatever. And actually, protein was not what I was lacking. Actually, it was an amino acid called lysine. So, from my understanding, the amino acids is what then turns into protein.
Yeah,
I was lacking a specific amino acid. So it's like people are like, oh, just take protein. No, that's not it. Like you got to know specifically with your body, right? So the rhodiola one, it regulates hormones, which is so important, boosts energy, muscle recovery, helps cardiac problems, immune system stimulation, and stress reduction. I'm not done. That has that in it. And then I'm going to give you one more it has in it. The bacopa. Bacopa plant. Bacopa. Here we go. Bacopa supports mental acuity and intellect, promotes long-term memory, improves retention, improves attention span, reduces hyperactivity, helps slow mental aging, and helps you to relax. So you have this little thing right here that has all those things that focus on what? Right here.
Your brain.
Your brain. Okay? When we start to consciously be aware of where we need assistance at mentally, that's how we're going to start healing. That's how we're going to have better co-parenting experiences. That's how we're going to have a better marriage while you have children, because shit changes after you have children. It's not the same. And that's why some people
Yeah.
can't make it. They have children, all of a sudden, it's a wrap. Like a year later, they're divorced. They're done. They don't even want to, you know what I mean? But this is a new experience. And like I said, this comes with tapping into your inner trauma. Because that's what's gonna I have many problems since pregnancy, so much. Yes, it does. It definitely does. So in this, they also have two other kinds that have a bunch of other, great vitamins in there and things of that nature. And you can buy either all three. It's called alchemy. I'm gonna put it here, alchemy mushrooms. Again, these are not psychoactive. This is no psychedelic. You're not gonna get high or nothing like that. I mean, if you want to, that's on you. You're not gonna get it from here. You're not gonna get it from here. Okay? Those are like psilocybin mushrooms, magic mushrooms. Those are different.
Yeah.
Okay? But this is great for anybody who's not into that, but wants to find some sort of quote unquote medication, if you want to say. Look into these. This is great for anxiety and all these things like that people suffer from.
Essential oil is really good too. I make a blend myself that's being tested right now so that I can add it to my brand. But I make a 3 essential oil blend to help with anxiety as well, that you can apply right on like your wrists. Hold on. And then the back of your ears. And yes, you can take all those mushrooms while you're breastfeeding. I don't know about the psychedelic mushrooms. I don't really know anything about those, but about the regular mushrooms, that's the ones, especially the ones I was taking with the cacao powder. Those you can take while breastfeeding, and they actually help boost your milk. Actually, now that I think about it,
the oils.
Yeah, no. The one of the girls is asking about breastfeeding, and I said the mushrooms that you're talking about and the cacao is actually helps boost your milk supply because you're adding a lot of nutrients from the mushrooms. Also, you know what I want to talk about? Sound. Like that's something that we don't really talk about, but we should because it has a lot to do with our programming as well. I recently got like a set of bowls for my birthday.
Yes, I have.
So I wanted to kind of ring a little bit to see if everyone out there can feel the difference. This is for the root chakra. So this is going to make us feel grounded. It's going to help clear traumas in that area. And the thing is that there is a science to your chakras. There is a science to, there are terms, like scientific terms for your spirituality. There's a scientific term for aligning yourself. These are all things that there's information out there. Now, that we've been taught that forever? No. And that's why we think it's weird because we can't see it. We can't feel it really in a way. So we don't think it really exists, right? But in reality, we do have some like energy cores in certain areas that need to be cleansed. They're also perfect areas for us to hide our traumas and hold on to that physical pain.
Yep.
Because what we don't realize as human beings that when our soul is in pain, we want to make our pain physical. So we literally start manifesting physical pain to ourselves because the emotional pain is too strong. So that's when you see like these extreme cases are people cutting themselves or people there's other things that people do besides cutting that I know is like using like needles to hang themselves and stuff, and it's like an art form. But in reality, these are people that are in a lot of pain emotionally and they want to bring it out physically. So if we can get it out, it will never manifest in any way physical, which people don't even understand. But like our throat chakra is so important. And I'm going to give you a hint. You can have an oversharing type of scenario and your chakra be unbalanced because of it being imbalanced is you undersharing, like not speaking out and defending yourself and advocating for yourself, or giving people too much information. Like, you don't want to share all the information with everyone, you know? So the alignment of your chakras is the balance of. So don't ever think that because, oh, I'm talking, so, you know, my chakras align. No, you could be over talking and that you might have to bring back into alignment, because if your 6 chakras down here are not aligned, your crown chakra ain't working. So it doesn't matter what you do to, you know, align your crown chakra, it's not gonna work for you, because that's your connection to source. And if you're not aligned internally, you will never be aligned with the source.
You have to understand, these are chemical reactions happening in your body. These are chemical, there's a science to this, like you said. These are chemical reactions, and I spoke about this before, how they're like little crackheads, and they be like, ooh, she's depressed, get it, make her more depressed. And then you feed into that, because you know what that happens? That brings you to a safety place, because that's what you know. You know that to you, that's who you are. No, I get depressed, I get anxiety. So then you know what happens? Your body, your subconscious says, oh yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. Let's get rolling. Let's go. And they go harder and harder and harder and harder, to the point where you're losing fucking control. Okay? So they're trying to take these pills and things to balance that. But do the sound. I want us to do the sound. Go ahead.
Okay. So again, this is the root chakra. This is the red bowl. It has this beautiful design on the inside. So symbolism is so important. And this is like one of the best gifts
I love it
that I've gotten. It was from my hubby. Do you want to press it in? He's been good at pressing the bowl. Go ahead. Does it feel good?
Yeah.
Go ahead, do it again. And so, like, I like to meditate. And something that someone told me one time, we were doing like a Esmeralda gem pop-up, and it was a Puerto Rican guy. He was really sweet, and he's like, you know, you should ring bells after you meditate. And I was like, why? And he's like, it fully brings you back. And it's also like the frequency that can, the same way that you can sage, and that smoke can help cleanse the or move around the energy around you. That's the similar things that happen with these bowls. This is for the heart chakra, and I wanted to bring out the root and heart on purpose.
I love it,
because those are usually, the root chakra for me is the most difficult. Come on, Zo. The root chakra for me was one of the most difficult, because I have difficulty grounding and accepting what is. I want to always change and fix and change and fix. And then I don't realize that, wait, for you to do that, you always have to know where you're at. You always have to come back to where you are, so you can see the path. So, Enzo brought in which was that one? This is the throat chakra, actually. So good looking out. Nice. And I'll show the symbol there, so that the symbol hits your soul. Do you see the symbolism? Go ahead.
Like, anybody done like a sound bath meditation with the singing bowls? Oh, it's so relaxing and beautiful.
My friend Marinez does them. She actually was the only person that's ever done Reiki on me. And I didn't even really understand what it was or how it worked. Like, I had read about it, I heard about it, but I didn't really understand until I was there. And she was doing the Reiki, and I can feel the trauma, like coming through. Like, I could feel it, and it was like a ball, like just rolling out of me. And a lot of people don't understand that, but these are things that we have the ability to do.
We have the ability. Nobody can tell you that didn't happen, that you didn't feel those things, just like electricity that I felt running through my body. And now I can meditate and make the electricity come through my body like that. Like that. And it also happens even more powerful anytime I'm fasting. Anytime I'm fasting,
yes.
And then I go and meditate regularly and do these things, I have so much more powerful. Like, it is literally like a ball of electricity that goes through your body.
Go check on them. What happened to the movie? It's okay then. He wants to hang out with me. So yeah, like the sound, I feel like is something, the Reiki, I feel like you have to give it a try and go blindly. Not like just go to anybody, you know, not like that.
No.
But go to someone you trust.
Yeah.
But I mean trust, because if you don't trust, then in all actuality, you're not gonna reach those areas. You're not gonna reach to be able to extract anything because you don't believe. So the act of believing also is one of the strongest things.
Yep.
It's one of the most amazing things. Like, I would tell people, when I got pregnant, I had no idea what I was doing. But there was 3 things on my list that I wanted there for sure. And it was, I wanted a natural birth. I wanted a medical, like medicine-free birth. And then I wanted to have, and I wanted to breastfeed my baby. As soon as I walked in the hospital and I lost the ability to give birth to my child natural, I said, oh, hold on. I had the power to control it, and I lost it, and it felt like that. Yeah. So I said no to everything else. I'm taking charge of this. So breastfeeding, of course, because I said I wanted to do it so bad, I know that God was like, let me see how bad you want it. Let me test this out real quick, because you gave up real quick the first time. You know, so when I was put up to the test, that's where you earn your stripes. That's where you see where, but you have to believe. If you don't ever believe that you're going to do it, you already lost the fight. You shouldn't even start. So if you go into any of these places, go with an open mind and just feel, because it's an emotion that we are suppressing all the time. We are running from everything. We don't want to feel bad. We don't want to feel sad, but we don't understand that, like, I just had a conversation like that with my cousins. We're not putting our guard down. And how can we live our lives fully if we are not putting our guard down? So like, as a Scorpio, for me, I like to protect and put up walls and create barriers and be like, oh, I don't like you that much, or I don't love you that much, or I'm not that crazy about you. But in reality, it hurts, you know? So yeah, I've learned that when I could still live and have my walls up, but it's not as fun. It's not as alive. It's not as vibrant or any of that stuff. So it's like, when I really think about it, once you put your guard down and you take those risks with people, that's when you're truly living, because you're broadening up your spectrum of what life is. So if you don't have these bad people to give you reference for the future, you're just always going to be hanging around. What are you doing? Go over there. You're always going to be hanging around people that are not, their intentions are not clear, and you're never going to know. You know, so that's another thing that I think was one of the most important things, was figuring out that, of course, everybody to each their own, but for me, putting that guard down to actually experience life and take those chances and lose a few people, so that the people that stay are my true people, are my circle, are my official people, you know?
Yeah. Because you have to be in line with people that are on the same wave as you. You know, if you're not in a successful, let's say, relationship, you want to be around successful people that are in a successful relationship. You want to get advice from people that, if you're married, you're not going to take advice from single people. You're going to take advice from people who are married. Just like when you have, you know, you can have a couple that's married, but what if they don't have children? You're not going to ask them for advice for that. You're going to ask somebody who's married with children for advice on being married with children. You have to be on the same page, so this way you can find your way. You have to build your community within yourself, you know, on what type of things you want to change, whether it be financially, whether it be mentally, whether it be anything, you know. If you have to co-parent, get advice from somebody who maybe had the most destructive co-parenting, and now they are like super good. You know, how did they get there? These are the people that you have to seek advice from, you know, or even just in general, as a mother, as a father, you're going to seek advice from people that have these experiences already. And within that, you're going to find your own healing, your own way, but you have references. I feel like I'm starting over again. Having babies really puts a hold on for me. I'm now trying to work back to getting myself. You ladies help me. Oh, girl, I know that feeling. I know that feeling. I had 3 babies in a matter of 5 years. I was pregnant, nursing, pregnant, nursing, pregnant, nursing, pregnant, nursing. And I feel like it's now that I'm coming into myself. I'm finding myself as a new woman. We have to let go of who we were pre-parents and find the new person, because that person is freaking amazing. I promise you, they are so amazing if they get out their head, if they start filing their healing. You know what I mean? 2 baby spirit. Yeah, it's no joke. Like, parenting is a lot. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But I think we can all agree that it's one of the most rewarding experiences. So I think that the way we're gonna enjoy this experience a little more with less trauma is if we start healing as individuals. We start respecting our partners for who they've become, and having faith in who they want to be, and assisting them in that process and not knocking them down, whether you're with them or not. You always want the best for your partner, whether you're together or not, because they still have to parent your child. They still have to bring their level of expertise in that field, whether it be a male or a female. But I gotta get going. My mother-in-law leaves today back to New York, so we're gonna hang out with the kids in the park for a little bit and stuff, and then take it to the airport. The brush. Yes,
yeah, I almost forgot, but
put the name down there of the company.
It's called Eco Tools. I got it at Marshall's. They have them in Marshall's.
Oh, Eco Tools.
Like, you can find them in one of those, but make sure that it's for the skin, that it's a dry brush. This right here, it's really good, and you hear?
Yes.
Like, you can already feel the difference once you do it. So I just add a couple of drops of, I just add 2 drops, and I pick one literally to balance my hormones, and one for detoxification. So that's what I use to also, because like you said, the hormone thing, we might have to do one episode actually on just hormones, actually, and balancing those hormones, because as women, we are the negative charge of the battery. Consider it that way. Just as important, but crazy, because we absorb everything. So if we're not careful about our surroundings and what we're taking in, it can take a toll on us, because it's not the same as men. Men find a different way to deal, but women, we have to literally heal to be able to act right.
Yeah.
We have to heal, because we need our discernment and we need our intuition to be able to be better.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Amen.
We're already getting off of this.
All right, we will be back next week. We're trying to get some people to come in also to get more in depth with the chakras. Yeah, it'll be exciting. I can't wait for that. We got some dope stuff that we'll be doing with you guys. Thank you guys again for tuning in, and anyone who watches afterwards, and we will see y'all next week.
Okay.
Bye.
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 So cute.